Been doing these for years. Still got the nerves a bit. Still got the nerves. Goes to show that, anxiety, social anxiety, it's a muscle that you have to work out and it can come and go depending on the situation. But, and if you don't, like I always say, if I stayed inside and played video games for 6 months and didn't get around people, my social anxiety would come back horrible. I'd get the shakes when I'm out around people I know. So that's kind of crazy. Let me switch to the presentation mode. We'll get started. Just want to thank everybody for coming. Yeah, real grateful that you came tonight. So let me switch. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, cool. So this is about this first series of classes we're doing, it's all around social anxiety, but the tools I'm going to teach you tonight, it's going to give you the ability to do things that you never thought you could do before. I'm going to teach you how to build courage, how to build confidence, how to do things that you never thought you could do before, even things that you're really scared of. So we're going to help you overcome social anxiety with courage, exposure therapy, and acceptance tools from exposure therapy and acceptance and commitment therapy. Um, hey, great to see you, Ariel. I see Ariel in the chat. So I want to do a little bit. Want to ask you all in chat and in Zoom chat, come the Zoom audience, a couple questions here. So if I could wave a magic wand and all your fears and anxieties, let's say they just evaporated, they were gone. How would you live your life? Feel free to put that in chat there. What kind of things would you do? How would you treat yourself and others? Year from now, what would you be doing if I could wave that magic wand? All your anxieties and fears would just totally be gone. So feel free to chime in there. Now, I want to ask you the opposite question. Let's say you watch this class today. You watch my classes the next 5 weeks, and you don't start taking action. Um, what's your life going to be like in a year? Is it going to? Is your life going to get bigger? Or is your life going to get smaller? And that's what kind of a therapist told me when I hit rock bottom after a couple of deaths in the family. This is way a long time ago, and I got angry. I'm angry at feeling depressed, kind of angry at not being able to do the things I want in life. And so what a therapist said, started teaching me these tools. And I'm like, dang, this is a lot to learn. And so what she said to me was, you're going to be a year or two older for a couple of years now. Year or 2 years from now, you're going to be older. Wouldn't you rather be older and have the life that you want, a life that you deserve, rather than just the same old dang thing you're doing now where you're not happy? Some people said, they'd stick to their plans and going out and not cancel. Other people said they'd do a lot more volunteer work and go out with friends a lot more and kind of have new experiences, things that they're a little bit, have a little bit trepidation on trying. Um, and So yeah, other people talking about trying all kind of stuff in chat. Let me check Zoom chat here a minute. So this is designed to get your first win. It's going to be a step-by-step process, how you can overcome that anxiety. And one thing I'll warn you, it doesn't happen quick. It takes practice, but the more you practice these skills, the better you're going to get at them. And like I said, it's all like playing a video game, like playing an RPG. You play the video game, you gain experience points. Those experience points help you level up. So every time you practice one of these skills, every time you go out in public, even if you're not successful, you don't do everything that you want to do when you go out in public and get around people and join groups. Every time you gain a little bit of experience points, and pretty soon those points are going to level you up, and you're going to level up the game in life, and it's going to get easier and easier. And there's sometimes situations change, that anxiety comes back, but you're going to have the tool set to work through it. So a little bit what I want people to do, a couple things. This is something I do every day. Actually, I've did it every day until I kind of live in gratitude. Gratitude, I'm going to talk about it more next week, but if you have anything that you feel grateful for today, feel free to put it in chat. Then I'll read a couple good things going on in the world. The one of the reasons I do this is, is a book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Talked about the concentration camps and about how attitude and mindset help people survive. So we have all these constant negative messages bombarding us in society about how awful things are, and things have been awful throughout all history. But it's the people who don't deny that there's bad stuff going on, but also are being able to pay attention to some good things happening in the world. It's there who are able to do the most for their families. Is there who are able to have the most productive lives. It's those people that are able to survive the most. So, a couple good things going on in the world while y'all are listening to some things you're grateful for. So recently, I think this was in Japan. Researchers developed a new approach that combined rehabilitation robotics with spinal cord stimulation. And what it enabled some people that had broken spinal cords. They're out riding bikes and walking. It's pretty amazing. And they've also discovered they're able to synthesize blood in the lab, the synthetic blood they can use in transfusions. And so what that's going to allow people to do, if this works really well, it's going to eliminate the blood shortage so that people don't have to keep giving blood. So big breakthrough. And using AI, they've discovered a whole new class of antibiotics. A lot of bacteria has become resistant to current antibiotics, and they've discovered a whole new class of antibiotics. So we got people posting things they're grateful for. Yeah, so some person is grateful that they're handling life right now. Pet's real sick. I hope your pet gets well real soon. It's so tough when a pet gets sick and you're so worried, but you're handling it great. Again, another person is grateful for their family. Another person is grateful for pets. Pets and family. Another thing, I'm grateful for all those great mentors I've had. I'm grateful for all the people that come to my groups. Grateful for a great partnership with West MI Social Club. Awesome people like Bray. Help me get more people to my shy people meetings, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Some people are grateful for coworkers. Let me kind of move on now so we're not taking up the whole night. We'll get to the class in a minute. Just want to give you some updates on what we're all up to this week around Michigan. So Portugal had a great event in Lisbon. Our amazing organizer, Excel, the photographer, had a great event recently. Good turnout there for the octopus movement. And I'm going to talk to you first. I'll tell you what's going on this week. And then every week, I'm going to tell you what's going on the coming week, because I want to cut this video out of there and post it to the YouTube channel so that people can just, so that people can just watch this video to know what's going on with International Friend Connection in the next week. So every Tuesday, our organizer, Michelle, if you saw that last TV interview we did with Fox 17, she was in that interview. She does board games at House Rules Lounge, and we get like 20 people to show up. There's only maybe like 4 or 6 RSVPs, but we get a ton of people to show up to that one. Wednesday, let's see, Becky's going to host an event Wednesday, and that's in Canton, Michigan, East Michigan. That will be at Matari, or it might be at Panera. I forgot. Then at night, I'll be hosting a global chat with all of our groups. That'll be via Zoom. In the past, we've gotten as many as 100 people in and out in a night. Wednesday, I'm also hosting a group for shy people in Grand Rapids at Schuler Books, 6 p.m. Feel free to join there. No pressure. If being on this live stream is enough for you for 1 week, I consider that a win. No pressure to get out, but we love to see you. And then Thursday night this week, Vicky's going to be hosting in Ann Arbor, a great organizer, Vicky. And then Friday, I'm doing Cafe Boba this Friday in Grand Rapids. Now, next week, the same thing. I'll be giving you a class every Monday. Next week class is about how to talk to anyone, how to have a conversation with anyone, no matter where you're at, and how to make emotional connections with people. We're going to teach you the instant connection formula. A lot of stuff I learned from great mentors like Eric F. King, the Compassionate Closer in his sales program, my mentor, Bob Berg, all kind of great people that have mentored me through the years and the books I've read. Now, next Tuesday, the week of the 6th, Michelle's going to have board games again, House Rules Lounge. Michelle's the board game queen of West Michigan. Then Wednesday, so Wednesday, we're not meeting at Schuler's. That's just every other week. But I will be doing a virtual meeting again at night with all of our meetup groups around the world. And then Becky's going to be hanging out in Kent, Michigan. Becky's a great organizer. Now, Becky's been volunteering for us several years now, maybe going on 3 years. I kind of forget the number of years, but Becky's doing a great job. Everybody loves Becky. And then again, next Thursday, Vicky's going to be hanging out in East Michigan in Ann Arbor at Sweetwaters. And then next Friday, we'll be either at a Cafe Boba or Broadleaf Brewery. Broadleaf gives us their VIP loft every other week or so, a couple week Friday nights in Michigan. Yeah, you can find out more internationalfriendconnection.com. I got to update that website sometime to get some time. Real disclaimer before we start. So these classes are teaching life skills, so it's not a substitute for any medical help or mental health treatment. You're in crisis right now. You got to reach out. And, I know what it's like for depression, for mental health to get real bad. You reach out for the help. They're going to fix it just like no more shame in reaching out, just like you would for a broken arm or you getting dialysis for a kidney problem. But yeah, you want to always work. If you've got a diagnosis, you always want to be working with a qualified mental health professional. And we don't really treat any form of mental illness. So get that out of the way, just get that out of the way there. So y'all know my story from last week. We just posted another video on the YouTube channel, but I'll give you a quick little thing. So y'all know I had my life taken away. It was software developer. I had all that taken away and I had severe social anxiety. I couldn't get around people without shaking. I couldn't say hardly anything to new people. And I always just hung out with one friend. And then my life started changing because, my friends got married, moved away, had kids, and they can't hang out much anymore. I was kind of left by myself, spent all my time online on playing games, Star Trek Online, Second Life, that kind of stuff. And it wasn't that great way to live, really. It wasn't a happy way to live. But then I started going to meetups and I was real scared. Shook the whole time. The first one I went to, said hi to the organizer, played a game for an hour and left. And then got used to that. And what I'd realized was that, people aren't all bad. It's just in my past, I had been around a lot of nasty, mean people. And once I started going to local meetups, like the board game group, I met all kind of wonderful people. And then I created my first group, 2014. I remember that first event. I still shook the whole time again because these were new people. And fortunately, talking to people came out because I could barely say a word. And then they all looked at me after the event. And they're like, "Oh, when we got to do this again?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, we got to do this again." But yeah, I started doing it every other week and then every week and then multiple times a week. It just became a lot of fun. And then now we got 50 groups all over the world. But it's those tiny little steps. It's being okay with being uncomfortable and taking those tiny little steps toward a new life. And that's kind of what I did there. And now I kind of almost have the problem that I've got too many people I know and too many friends. You have to kind of turn down people, and I kind of feel bad about that sometimes. But so why human connection matters? I talked to you about the Harvard study last week, 80-year study that showed number one key to longevity is positive and supportive relationships. Um, and it helps build a lot of emotional strength and connection. As I learned, my buddy David Siegel taught in his book, Decide and Conquer, you know, luck comes from knowing a lot of people. The more people you know, the more opportunities you have. And that just doesn't mean career opportunities. It's opportunities to get to do things, to get VIP treatment wherever you go. I mean, just for your kind, you make connections and make friends wherever you go. You get that VIP treatment. I got a buddy, greatest cab driver in New York City, Taz. He gave me a nighttime tour of Manhattan once. Amazing experience. And every time we give into that social anxiety, our world gets smaller and smaller. And then think a couple years from now, if you keep giving into that, how small your world's going to be, how happy is your world going to be? But if you take small steps and those small steps add up over time and they add up slowly over time, you're going to build that courage. You're going to build that courage to get around people, to meet the friends that you deserve and to live the life that you deserve. I mean, I can't believe what I'm doing in life now. I mean, I always thought I'd be a software developer stuck behind a computer. And when that got taken away from me by the injury of my car accident, I was totally hopeless. I'm like, this is the end of life. But, I found out that I could learn people skills. I went at it like a engineer, like a software developer, kind of broke it down into steps. And that's how I kind of learned it. I'll give you a little tool, give you a little story. So I got to give a speech at the Meetup 20th anniversary party back in 22, and a great honor that I was picked over any other organizer. It was buddies with some of the executives. And the thing I told y'all was when I realized what my mission was in life, and it was after my mom died, because I had a couple meetup groups, and yeah, we had a bunch of virtual groups too. And so I do the virtual meetings every night, but it's not enough when you go through tragedy, when someone that you've lived with all your life, that you looked after all your life, dies. One of those devastating things that can happen. And but so what I did, I threw a lot of people from my local meetup groups in Grand Rapids in a chat. And I said, never ask y'all for anything. I just can't be alone right now. And for the first 6 weeks after she died, on weekends, friends would come stay. Every night after work, friends would come over for 6 whole weeks. And I wasn't alone. And I mean, after that experience, I know this is my life's mission. I want everybody to have friends like that when you go through tragedy, you got someone to come over, because it's different. If you go through tragedy, you only have friends you're seeing on Zoom. You only have friends you're seeing in Discord. You only have friends you're chatting with online. It's a lot different when somebody can sit by you in the same room. It's a lot more healing, and all kind of great things happen when you're together with people in the same room. Now, before we get into a lot of acceptance commitment therapy stuff from the ACT model, um, got to give you a little bit of overview about how the brain works. So our brains evolved to be negativity machines. And so what that means is our brains evolved to pay attention to the negative things and the negative memories more than the positive ones, because that over time helped our survival. Or even if you don't believe in evolution, thousands upon thousands of years ago, the world was a very dangerous place. So we learned to pay attention to all those negative things that could kill us so that we could live the longest. So, and now we're in modern times. Most people don't have to worry about where their next meal's coming from. They don't have to go out and hunt it down or gather it from out of the woods. We go to the store, or we got food in the house. We can make it, or go to fast food, or go to a restaurant. Um, but our brain's still paying attention to all that negative stuff more than positive stuff. So that's why our brain's like hearing bad news more than the good news. We remember the bad things that are going on in the world more than the good things. So that's why it's so important to pay attention to good things. And our brains aren't designed to make us happy. They're not happiness machines. They're designed for comfort rather than survival. And fear and anxiety are normal emotions. It's only when they get out of control and interfere with us having the lives that we deserve that they become that we need to do something like about it. But anxiety is a good thing, because it keeps us out of danger. But again, we have all kind of anxieties now that we don't need to, because we live in a modern. Most people live in a modern, relatively comfortable world. So in ACT, there are a couple concepts. One thing acceptance commitment therapy teaches is it teaches that a lot of the problems that we have are a result of avoidance. So a lot of people kind of let fear dictate their actions. As far as social anxiety goes, what that avoidance looks like is it's staying away from all social situations. It's being afraid to make phone calls, being afraid to go see family. Just your brain will make excuses not to participate, and really limits your experiences. And a lot of things people do for avoidance: drink alcohol, drink drugs, or like I did. I was doing a lot of avoidance when I was playing video games all the time, staying online and avoiding going out and from people. That was my avoidance, and I did it so much to where it was interfering with my life. And so not all avoidance is bad. It's only bad when it interferes with you having a rich and meaningful life. Um, So fusion is another concept in acceptance and commitment therapy. What fusion means is when you get hooked or overwhelmed by painful and disturbing thoughts. So if you have social anxiety like I did, and I still struggle with some of these thoughts, but now I'm able to get some space between them. And I'm going to teach you how to. But not everything your mind tells you is the truth, and that's mind blowing as it is. Uh, a lot of the things our thoughts tell us are opinions, and sometimes the things our brain tells us is are just lies. It can be helpful to see your brain not as you, but just a machine that's in your head, chattering away, telling you all these things. And our thoughts and feelings, they're kind of either random or in response to stimulus. We can't really control our thoughts and feelings. But what we can do is we can give ourselves some space between those thoughts and feelings and choose to go in one direction towards a rich and meaningful life rather than away from it, towards a better life. And our brains like to consume us with old stories of painful things that we've been through. And what that causes us, that just causes our worlds to get very small. Um, and all these things, and what I'm going to tell you is your brain's not being a bad guy. It doesn't have your worst interests at heart, really has your best interests at heart, and all it wants to do is keep you alive. So if you're afraid of getting around people like I was, your brain's telling you no, they're going to make fun of you, these people aren't going to like you, it's going to be too much work to get around people. That's what my brain tells me about every time I get around people. Or being bullied as a kid, the old story of these people are going to make fun of you, they'll do something mean to you, that comes up. But I'm an adult now, and those old stories aren't true. A therapist of mine once told me, our brains are a lot like cow paths. You let cows out in a pasture, each cow will take its exact same path every time it goes out in the pasture. And so what happens is our brains get locked into certain grooves or certain patterns over the years. And what we can do is use these tools to change those patterns. And the more we use these tools, the more our thinking will change as a side effect. So everything great in life happens as a side effect. Like if you pursue happiness, you're never going to find it directly. But if you pursue a rich and meaningful life, then happiness comes as a side effect. Just like I got a buddy, a great investor. He always says, if you directly pursue making money, it's not going to find you. But if you pursue providing value to the marketplace and pursue a business in line with your values, then that money will come. That money will come. Now, in the moment that we are having all these negative thoughts, or I want to get away from classifying thoughts as good or bad. What I'll say is we're having uncomfortable thoughts. And eventually, what we want to classify thoughts as, we want to say, is this thought helpful towards us having the life that we deserve, or is it taking us away from the way we deserve, the life we deserve? So Dr. Russ Harris came up with something called the choice point. And so when you notice these uncomfortable thoughts and feelings coming up, you've got a choice. So it's like one of my I'll tell you a little story. Had an organizer named Crystal back in the day, and she was terrified at coming out to events. I mean, she even drove up in her car and cried, could barely come in. That's how bad her social anxiety was. But Crystal came into our events, and people were really cool. That was a great group back in the day, our introverts and shy people's group. And then, you know what? Every time it got easier for Crystal to come to our events. And then just a year later, she was hosting most of the events in that group. And I was very happy to let her host. She had built those skills up a little bit at a time. So when Crystal drove up, or when I go to a social event, my brain's going to start telling me all this kind of stuff that, oh, I don't want to do this. People are going to be mean to me. Um, I'm just going to be totally uncomfortable all the time. So I got a choice. Do I want to move away from and go back to the old life I lived, or do I want to go forward and towards the life that I know I deserve, a life full of friends, a life full of people that and having awesome times with people that support me and look out for me. Um, And you're never going to feel 100% ready, which is why we got to learn to take these chances and make these choices when we're not ready. So I'm going to introduce you to a concept. One of the concepts in the acceptance commitment therapy is acceptance. Now, what acceptance means in acceptance commitment therapy is that we accept our internal emotional state and the state of our brain. So if we're feeling anxiety, our brain's telling us all kind of negative things. We're not saying whether it's good or bad. We're not saying it's okay. We're just going to say, hey, it's reality. And so there's some techniques called diffusion techniques that allow you to get a little bit of separation between those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. Um, there's a few ones I like. So there's one called I notice I'm having the thought that what that's designed to do is give you a little bit of distance. So when I'm having those thoughts that I'm going to go to this event, I'm feeling real awkward. Everybody's looking, thinking I'm dumb. Nobody's going to like me. I'm having those thoughts. I picture myself taking a step back from myself and I say, I notice I'm having the thought that, I notice I'm having the feeling that. Sometimes I'll use the thanking the mind because, your mind, your brain has your best interests at heart. Works real good if you see your brain as separate from yourself. Um, so I just kind of thank my mind for those thoughts that they're giving me. Or the old story, I might have mentioned that earlier. That these stories I'm having are from a long time ago. The old story that people aren't going to like me, the old story that people are going to be mean to me if I go out in public, and that I can't make friends. That's an old story too. Or being someone in the autism spectrum, that I'm just too weird, too broken to make friends. That there's no way people will like me. These are the old stories that go through our heads, and I probably a lot of part of y'all's heads too. So I named that story. I'm like, this is just an old story that my brain's been telling me my whole life. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And I'm not arguing with my thoughts because the more you argue with your thoughts, what happens is the more powerful they get. It's kind of like, when Princess Leia was on the bridge of the Death Star with Governor Tarkin in Star Wars. She said, the more systems, the more you tighten your grip, the more systems will fall through your fingers. Our thoughts are kind of like that. The more we try to struggle against our thoughts, the bigger we get. It's like that monster in our head. The more we try to struggle against the monster in our head, the bigger it gets. But if we use these diffusion tools, kind of set our thoughts aside, we don't avoid them, but we say, hey, these thoughts, we're going to have them. We're going to be uncomfortable. Let's go and take a step towards that life that we want. And at the end, I'm going to tell you how to put all this stuff together. Now, when things are really rough, and what I'll do if you're in the private community, I'm going to, when I upload these videos, I'm going to share some external audio from Dr. Russ Harris. He has a great dropping anchor meditation, a grounding meditation. And so when things are really rough, when I'm really nervous, there's kind of a formula you can use called ACT. We want to ground ourselves in our body, want to pay attention to the things that are around us. So first we acknowledge the uncomfortable thoughts and feelings that we have. We pay attention to our body, feel your feet in your floor. One thing I've always did was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 meditation is you first you count down your head 5 things you can see, 5 things you can hear, 5 things you can touch, and then you do 4 things that you can see, hear, and touch, and then 3 things, and then 2 things, and then 1 thing. And by the end of that, I'm always a lot calmer. But so we acknowledge what's going on in our head, then we come into our body, pay attention to our breath, take a deep breath. It's always important when you start noticing those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, take a deep breath and then use the tools, use those diffusion methods. Say, I notice I'm having this uncomfortable thought. I notice I'm having an uncomfortable feeling. And then we take the smallest action. So the tools are designed to give us some space so that we can take the smallest action possible. Now, here's something that changed my life when I learned it. And for the engineers, for the software developers watching this, For the gamers watching this, this may make sense. It took me a while to learn it, but it's in acceptance commitment therapy. There's a concept called self as context. And what self as context says is that we are not our brains, we're not our bodies. We are just that moment to moment sense of consciousness from one moment to the next. We're not our thoughts and our feelings. In that, so I can kind of give that we are not our thoughts and feelings, but we are the one that notices our thoughts and feelings. So, in kind of in my brain, when I use that, this can be a diffusion technique too. And kind of video game terms, what I I see the shift from first person, like you're playing a first person shooter, to switching to third person mode, standing outside of your body. I have aphantasia, so I can't imagine very well, but I can perceptualize this. I can take a deep breath when I'm feeling real uncomfortable, see myself kind of stepping out in back of my body a little bit, noticing these thoughts and feelings that I'm having, and then using the diffusion methods, and then taking a step in the direction that I want to go in life. At the end, I'll play a little video of something that was very difficult for me to overcome. So I can just show you how powerful these are. Another metaphor is think of your think of yourself as the sky, but not the weather. The sky's there; it's always the same. But the weather comes and goes. Some day it's cloudy, some day it's windy, some days it rains, some days it snows. But weather changes, and your thoughts and feelings change too. So usually if you wait long enough, they're going to change. And the more we take a step towards the rich and meaningful life, as Dr. Russ Harris says, the more that these thoughts and feelings aren't as powerful, they don't affect us as much. Um, So mindfulness is a big part of acceptance commitment therapy, but having ADHD, I cannot do a formal mindfulness exercise. If you're in a private community, when I upload this video, I'll upload a link to there's a meditation I've done that helps a little bit. Um, if you don't have ADHD, this will work great for you because what you need to do is you need to develop self awareness. I probably should have started talking about this in the beginning of the class, but so mindfulness is a very important tool. A lot of people think meditation is like this big formal thing, but really, all meditation, mindfulness meditation is just paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to what's going around you, paying attention to your senses. So one of the practices when you start learning acceptance therapy, whether from a therapist or a coach, if you're doing coaching or in a class like mine, is there's a meditation called Leaves on a Stream, and there's a bunch of them on YouTube. And what we learn is we just learn to sit back and observe our thoughts and feelings happening to us. And the only way you're going to develop self awareness is by sitting back and learning to watch your thoughts and feelings or listen to your thoughts and feelings. Um, and then once you start doing that, then you can label them and be more aware of what thoughts and feelings you had. I mean, even a few years ago, well, long time. I remember 2011 when I started learning all this stuff. I mean, I could not even label the different feelings I had. I mean, as a man in America, we're not supposed to have feelings in public. That's just our culture. Um, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but I had to learn to the thing is, what happens was when you deny the feelings that you're having, they come out as physical health problems. The story a therapist once told me about a Vietnam veteran that he had worked with in the VA, and this guy, real tough guy, um, he had one confirmed kill in Vietnam, and then he stuffed that away for decades. And one day he woke up, he had began a pattern of being real mean to his family. So finally he went to a therapist in the VA, and all that meanness was because he had had that one confirmed kill way back then. And then he never dealt with the emotions for that. But once he dealt with those emotions, he went back to treating his family great. And he was a real good guy. It's just that he suppressed all those emotions. The more you suppress your emotions, um, the more that they're going to come out as physical health problems. In me, I get more migraine headaches when I'm stressed, when I'm trying to bury stuff, uncomfortable feelings. I'll get more migraine headaches. So that's my sign to pay attention to something. But the thing is, we don't want to fight with our thoughts. We just want to allow them to flow through us, kind of like in Dune when they have the litany against fear. Fear is a mind killer. I will not fear. I'll face my fear. I'll allow it to pass over and through me. You want to let those feelings pass right through you. You don't want to struggle with them. You want to drop the struggle with them. Use those diffusion methods to get some separation, but we don't want to use avoidance on the feelings that we have. And the less you will try to push down your feelings, the less you'll try to avoid your feelings, the more they're going to flow through you and they'll dissipate quicker than if you struggle with them. So a mindfulness practice like finding the leaves in the stream meditation, that's just going to help you be more aware of yourself and build that self-awareness. And what that's going to allow you to do in the future, you'll be able to notice when those uncomfortable feelings come up. You'll be able to label them. You'll be able to say, oh, this is fear coming up. This is anxiety coming up. This is a sadness coming up. This is anger coming up. And then you'll be able to intercept those feelings with those diffusion techniques. And in the moment saying, oh, well, somebody made me angry. Do I want to lash out? That might not be good, especially in a workplace. Let's get some separation, take a pause, and then respond instead of react, like my friend Bob Berg talks about in one of his books. Want to give you a story. We're going to put this all together in a minute, but got a gentleman that came to my group. Name was Douglas. Now he had come a couple years ago. He was in a hospital in a wheelchair, been in a wheelchair for years, and he was counting down the days he had left to live, just no hope. And he kept showing up to my meetings. And I said, Douglas, you're welcome here to my virtual meetings. Come every night. We'll keep you company. But he listened to all the stories. He listened to the story about Crystal, listened to my story and other people's stories who decided to take those tiny steps. And then 3 months later, he called in. He was walking down the street and he was like, oh, you're a genius. I'm walking again. And I'm like, well, you're the one that went back to physical therapy. But, hearing those stories inspired him to take that first step out of that wheelchair by going back to physical therapy. And he's no longer counting down the days he has left to live. He's counting the things that he wants to do in life. I'll tell you about a guy I worked with, Ben in Singapore. Now Ben was kind of homebound for 12 years. My buddy teaches investments, and he referred Ben to me because he's like, Ben has such an anxiety problem. He wasn't leaving the house, and he'd get real upset being around people. So I had a little talk with Ben. I said, Ben, here's my TV interviews. Here's how my life was. Here's what I've been able to overcome. And he had a lot of shame from his past. And I said, shame's kind of a useless emotion. And I'll go into that later. But, and I said, just because our past is one way doesn't mean that we have to have the same future. If we take tiny little steps and we just try, and we use these techniques, we can have a different future. So a month later, we get a call. I worked with Ben a couple times only. And a month later, my buddy, the investment teacher, gets a message from his family. His parents were just so grateful. He's like, I don't know what you guys did, but now Ben's going, he's getting his food every day at the market, walking his dog in crowded dog parks. And that was only a month after I worked with him a couple times. He even went on a trip to Malaysia with his family after not leaving Singapore, the house, much in a dozen years. And my biggest thing they're grateful for was that he spent Christmas with his family at church. Family was so grateful for that. And the thing was, he didn't wait for his fear to go away. He took action while he had that fear, and the fear got less as a side effect of taking action. So I want to go into something called exposure therapy a little bit. And I did this on myself without even knowing it was. I talked with a therapist years later, and he was like, you were doing exposure therapy on yourself without even knowing what it was. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing. But exposure therapy, the essence of it is just being around the thing that gives you that triggers uncomfortable emotions a little bit at a time. and stay around it longer. So it's like when I went to that first board game meetup, I could only stay for an hour, but then the next week I stayed for an hour, 50 minutes. After that, I could stay for the whole thing for a couple hours. And then pretty soon I could go once a week and then twice a week. And it's those tiny little steps add up. So the more we take those steps toward those uncomfortable feelings, and it's like, I'm not asking y'all to run inside a burning building or jump in front of a bullet for someone, but let's just take those tiny steps to show up to a group and overcome that social anxiety. And if you take those tiny steps, you can use this to overcome any fear. Um, and building confidence, this is how you really build confidence. I remember when I was wondering how to build confidence, um, it seemed like this big mysterious thing that you either had it or you didn't, or maybe there was some magic tricks that would help you build confidence, but really there's no tricks. Where confidence comes from is taking tiny steps and doing things that are difficult that you could not do before. I remember when I started losing weight back in the day. I lost 70 pounds, and that confidence built up because I took tiny steps to lose that weight. And when I started becoming more social, my social confidence went up. And there are different types of confidence. Confidence isn't just a general thing. So it's like once you gain confidence in one thing, doesn't mean you're confident in everything. But then you have more confidence to try new things. Once you eliminate one fear through exposure therapy, or one fear dissipates, it's much easier to get through the next fear. And we want to face that fear without avoidance. So what I want you to do, I'm going to put this all together. I think I forgot to make a slide putting it all together, but so essentially, you got to practice, use that leaves on the stream meditation. Or if you just want to sit and pay attention to your thoughts and feelings for 5 minutes. If you got ADHD like me, that's very hard. But so just do it for a couple minutes. Pay attention to what you're thinking, what you're feeling. A lot of people aren't aware of what they're thinking and feeling. And then when you notice uncomfortable feelings come up and when you want to do something, take a deep breath and say, I notice I'm having the thought that, I notice I'm having the feeling that. And then we let those feelings be. And in the moment, we make that choice towards that life we want to live. So for people with social anxiety, it's making that choice to come out to those local events that we do, or a local event. And what I want to do is tell you where the best local events are to meet friendly people. So my number one thing, meetup.com. I help mentor new meetup organizers for Meetup. Love Meetup. Find all kind of local community groups there. Local Facebook groups, like I talk about West MI Social Club, a really great group here. And look in your city. I think there's going to be more local Facebook groups doing local kind of smaller group events in the future. Um, Great way to meet a lot of people. Now, I'll say I've been going to events for over a decade, a long time now. Now I get around of a crowd of 150 people. I get real dang nervous. Part of that is due to being on the spectrum, getting overloaded, a little bit of sensory overload. But part of that is just those old stories coming to my head. So at big events, I get tired after a couple of hours, but a small event, maybe like 6, 8 people, a dozen people, I could go all night, and nothing wrong with that. But eventbrite.com is another place, but Eventbrite mostly does paid events. If you're religious, look for small group events at your church or temple, like Bible studies or studies of your book. I was actually in a study with a Hindu priest, for the Bhagavad Gita. It was philosophy discussion group, some Hindu philosophy. Learned about detachment, which was very helpful. Any adult classes. Hey, our buddy Sharia is here calling in. Great to see you, Sharia. He's my buddy in Jersey. I always make time for him when I go to New York. So adult classes, great way to meet new people. You learn new skills while meeting people that are similar to you. Volunteering. Usually, if you volunteer, you're going to meet decent people. So that's a great way to meet decent people. Now, here's the plan. What I want you to do for this week's homework. This is how you're going to get your first little win. Oh, and don't mind good. You can't see the bottom of the image. So I use a presentation maker called Gamma.app. Wonderful thing. I make up an outline I can paste in there and it makes up a presentation because as you know, I had that, well, I'm going to show you a video in a minute, what I have to go through every couple months. But I had that car accident. I can't sit at the computer for very long anymore. Even people that come to International Friend Connection, they used to remember when I'd have to lean way back in the chair so I couldn't sit forward like this, or I'd be in horrible pain the next day. Wouldn't be able to be on the computer at all. But anyhow, I use Gamma.app because it can make a presentation in about a couple minutes, and then about 30 minutes of editing it, I can get this whole presentation done. And it puts AI images in there. So that's the reason why the images are a little bit messed up. But for people with disabilities, I mean, AI is a super great tool. I can't spend 8 hours at the computer, but I can maybe spend hour a day. And if I can get 8 hours of work done in an hour with AI, then I mean this is totally life changing for me. So here's your plan to get your first win for the week. You got to find a local event, go on Meetup, find a local group. You're going to email the host. If it's one of our shy people groups in Michigan, we're going to welcome you with open arms, but our hosts will welcome you with open arms. I meet very few Meetup hosts that aren't that great. They're out there, but most people that go to meetups, most people that are hosts are really awesome people. I just want you to either stay for 30 minutes or an hour, or maybe even if coming to this live stream or a Zoom audience was enough, then that's enough for this week, and you can do this homework next week. But I want you to use the tools that we taught you. So when you go to the event, before you go in, take that deep breath. Take inventory of what you're thinking and feeling. Use those diffusion skills. You use that trick of seeing yourself like a character in a video game, switching to third person, stepping back from yourself, say, I notice these thoughts, I notice these feelings, or thank the mind, or say, hey, these are these old stories that's been going through in my life that my brain's been telling me all my life. And then take that step to go inside the building and just sit down by the group. And you don't have to talk to anybody. Say hi to the organizer. And just say, hey, I'm here just to kind of be okay with being around people. And then afterwards, that's going to be your first win. And you do that. That is something you'll know that you can do something that you didn't think was possible. That confidence is going to start building. Next time it'll be a little easier. And every time after that, it'll be a little easier. I'm going to teach you more stuff. Next week, I'm going to teach you how to talk to just about anyone, how to talk to anyone, and make a connection with anyone, basically get people to like you. But then in 2 weeks, we're going to go into mindset, which is really how to be that attractive person that people want to be around, that people want to give opportunities and raises and promotions to. So yeah, the homework's going to be to attend the event, use your tools. So a private community is going to go pay in a little bit. I think we're just going to have it be $7 a month just as a test to see if people are actually interested in working with me one night a week. I'm going to do like a group mentorship, group coaching, so that I can help you apply all this stuff to yourself. That may be coming in a couple weeks, but right now our community.thefriendmagnet.com, that's free to join. And you'll get to sit in the audience on Mondays for free if you join it before the next couple weeks. But when you get home, I want you to do something special for yourself, because our brains pay attention to negative stuff so much. Every time we do something that we haven't did before, I want you to celebrate that win. Maybe, I don't know, do something good for you that makes you feel good, whether it's play a video game, have a nice little piece of candy, have a pop, cookie, something like that. Or if you're a savory person, have some chips or some pasta, whatever. But you got to celebrate that win to cement that in your brain. And, you'll know that you can go out, you can be okay being uncomfortable going out, and that you'll survive. Your brain's telling you that you will survive, but at the end, you'll know that you have survived. So the thing is, you don't have to feel fearless to do big things and to make progress in life. You just have to act in the service of what matters. That when you feel that fear, take that step toward that life that I know you deserve. I mean, I remember what it was to be lost and hopeless, stuck behind the computer, like 12, 16 hours a day, because I wanted to avoid life. I wanted to drown out all those uncomfortable feelings with video games. Um, and it wasn't a happy life. It wasn't a happy life. And I had online friends, but it wasn't the same as my in-person friends. When I go to New York, I see my in-person friends. I go to Tampa, see those friends and all my friends around East Michigan and West Michigan. Um, I mean, I never believed I could have the amount of friends that I have now. And I think if you start doing this stuff today, a year from life, you're not going to believe how great a life you're going to have or the beginning of a great life you'll have. You're going to be flabbergasted by the stuff you're able to do. And oh, yeah, I've got show y'all one thing to show you how powerful this stuff is. Got a little video for you. So every couple months, that neck injury from the car accident. Let me turn off my camera here in Streamlabs. There we go. Got a little video for you. So I do two procedures every 2 months. I get them done 2 weeks apart. This is the minor procedure. So I get 8 needles in the sides and back of my head, so I can be pain free for 2 weeks. And then I've been allowed to record the main procedure yet, just because the surgeon's nervous. He don't want to make a mistake having a camera on him. But I get 4 long needles right in the back of my head where my spine meets the skull, and they're the longest, slowest needles in the world. They hurt real bad, but hey, at least I can sit at a computer again. And I love doing it so I can bring this stuff to you. But here's a little video of the small procedure I get. I won't show the whole thing, but using the diffusion skills, um, what I had to do was identify something I wanted more than going through all the pain of getting these needles stuck in my head. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to work again. I wanted to be able to have the friends that I wanted. And the life that I wanted is on the other side of taking all these needles. I had to do it when I had to get allergy shots too. I'm deathly afraid of needles. I still am pretty afraid of needles. And I have to give myself a once a month injection for my, yeah, and, oh, there's a squeeze in the squeeze ball there. I think that's probably enough. There's 8 of those. There's 8 of those. Y'all don't need to see more of those. But yeah, I'm deathly afraid of needles. I'd about pass out when I get a shot. And then I had to identify what I wanted more than that fear of needles. And I think what you want more than your social anxiety, than your anxiety right now, is you want that beautiful life that's on the other side of all that anxiety. You want that beautiful life full of people that love you and support you, that have your back when you have a bad time, that can come over sit next to you on the couch when you have a bad time. You want to be able to travel and meet awesome people wherever you go and hang out with the kind of people you've always wanted to hang out with. And that beautiful life, that amazing life is on the other side of all that fear. So if you, I guarantee you, if you practice these techniques, you put them into practice, you do the homework that we tell you, you're going to have a totally different life a year from now. You probably won't be able to believe the kind of life that you have. So what I want to do now, I want to do a little bit of a Q&A. Let's see if I haven't bored everyone in the YouTube chat away, and if we still got our visitors in Zoom here. So feel free, if you have any questions about what we talked tonight, please put your questions in chat there on the YouTube chat and in our Zoom chat. I'm going to take a break for a couple minutes here so y'all can think of those questions. And then make sure, oh yeah, YouTube's new for me, so make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you get notifications of all of our live streams and classes every week. Next week, like I said, we're going to teach you the conversational skills that you need, because a lot of the shy people I work with, and this was myself too, I didn't know what the heck to say or how to have a conversation with someone. It came a lot naturally to people, but I had to break it down using my software development and engineering skills, step-by-step process. And I'm going to show you step-by-step next week how to connect with someone pretty quickly within just a few minutes. And how to be able to talk to anyone. But if y'all have any questions, feel free to put that in the YouTube chat. Yeah, so the Zoom link is only in the private community. I can't give it out in Meetup because we have too many Zoom bombers. Um, yeah, we've had a great audience tonight. Just be grateful for everybody coming. I hope we've given you, if you don't have any questions, kind of put in the chat. Is there an aha moment that you got from tonight's talk? And let me know if you want to work with me. We can set up one night a week where we can do a group session where I can help you implement all this stuff in your life. Because taking classes is one thing, but the group coaching is I've been in many group coaching programs, and I've found they're better than one-on-one coaching because you have different people with different experience levels in them. So you may have a guy starting out who's very frustrated. And you may have a guy that's been in there for 6 months. So, like, especially when I joined my marketing coaching, if from my friend Drew at Grow House, I was in there. I didn't believe any of this marketing stuff, and it was such a tall hill to climb to learn marketing. And there are other people in there saying like, "Oh yeah, you can learn this stuff. I've been studying for 6 months, taking Drew's advice, and I'm doing really good now. And you're frustrated now, and I was frustrated too, but now I got it. So it's the same thing that we'll be doing in the Friend Magnet group mentorship and coaching program. Let me see if I got any questions from our Zoom audience or our YouTube, or if anybody's put any big aha moments there. Hey, just want to thank some of the gang from West MI Social Club for coming out. Some of the International Friend Connection gang for coming out. Oh, we had a big gang from West MI. So y'all are so just awesome. It's an awesome group. So if you're in Grand Rapids, of course, check out my meetup groups. We got 30s and 40s group. We've got West Michigan Geeks. We got West Michigan Introverts and Shy People. But as well as that, check out some awesome events with West MI Social Club. You're in Kalamazoo. There's a group called Gather. My friend Callan runs that, and they do a lot of fun events. They went roller skating last weekend. They got a goth night they go to at Pop-Up Eats too. Other than that, not seeing many questions this time. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. Just grateful for everybody coming out. And oh yeah, join us Wednesday via our virtual chat. Last week I live streamed it, but it was a pretty boring live stream because we can't show the people that come to our global Zoom chats. But Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, because I'll be at Schuler's until 8 with our Shy People. So join us, talk to people from all over the world. We had 6 countries in last week. We have as many as 25 different countries in. So at 8 at night, we'll get mostly Americans, Canadians, South Americans, and then we'll get some people from Asia that are just getting up in the morning, sometimes people from Australia. So feel free to join us this Wednesday, 8 p.m., internationalfriendconnection.com. You can get the link to the meetup group, sign up on there to grab the Zoom link there. And the more the merrier for those. Really appreciate y'all coming out, and hope y'all have a good night and a great